Yes, it's a brand new air defense that may just blow you away in today's episode. Greetings, fellow Clashers, and welcome. Yes, we had to crank up the dramatic music because it's the world premiere of the Air Sweeper. Yes, it's a brand new air defense, and there it is right there in action. That is a level 6 air sweeper, and the good news is the level 1 air sweeper will be available at Town Hall 6. The air sweeper does not do damage. It does just that. It sweeps units away, blasting air out from that giant bellows that you see in the bottom of it. And yes, it is adjustable. Now, it covers about 120 degrees at a time, but it has 8 settings, and you'll notice the settings do overlap a little bit. So you can angle it to cover specific areas of your base. It is certainly going to put a wrinkle in air attacks all the way down to Town Hall 6, so dragons at Town Hall 6 may no longer be quite so overpowering. It is going to change base design for Town Halls 6 through 10. And right here, we're going to take a look at exactly what it does to approaching units. And watch closely, you'll notice that no matter the size or implied weight of the air unit, they are all going to be pushed back at the same rate, but they will recover at different speeds. Obviously, the minions faster, then the lava hound, then the dragon, then finally the balloon. This could adversely affect balloon attacks dramatically. Look at how far that balloon is being pushed back and how long it is taking that balloon to try to recover. I can tell you right away that rage spells are going to become critical. That extra speed is going to be super important, especially for balloon attackers, to get those balloons back in and on top of that air sweeper before they get taken out by other defenses. So now we're going to take a look at a hypothetical attack. We've got balloons and dragons moving in, and you can see that they are out of the range of the air sweeper. Now we can see which direction the air sweeper is facing before we attack, so that is definitely an advantage to the attacker. You can assume that it's about 60 degrees to the left and to the right of wherever that nozzle is facing. And now I know 60 degrees is kind of nebulous, but it'll be one of those things that we will learn over time, just like we know the range of our rage spells, heal spells, and jump spells. So this attack began by taking out the lower 2 air defenses, and now here come the dragons. So we will get to see the air sweeper in action as those dragons deployed at the bottom of the screen will be within range. You can see the ones to the left and to the right still not activating the air sweeper, and now there it goes. It's going to grab those dragons and push them outward. I mean, at first glance, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, it doesn't do any damage, just kind of fans them in the face with air like some sort of ancient Egyptian royalty. But that additional time that they're going to be exposed to defenses like Inferno Towers, Expos, and Archer Towers, that is going to make a big difference in an attack. And finally, the attacker here has dropped a rage spell to help get those dragons in, and you can see it took a long time to get those dragons in on top of that air sweeper, and right there could have been the difference in this attack between a 1-star and a 2-star outcome. Now we're going to move on to another attack replay, basically the same attack but facing grounded expos, so the units will be able to get in further. But what I want to take a closer look at here is, remember when we were setting up the air sweeper that the settings covered about 120 degrees of coverage, but you'll notice that the blast of air that comes out is much smaller than 120 degrees. So finally, when it does go into effect, you'll see it's a very small radius right there, much less than 120, even less than 90 degrees. So with such a small area that the air sweeper affects at any given time, distracting an air sweeper might be a key to offense. Now, just like in the first attack, the attacker takes out that second air defense with lightning, but let's watch closely as these dragons are again deployed at the bottom of the screen. Lower right, there it is. Air sweeper blasts air at that one dragon, and it pushes it just out of its range right here, and that will cause the air sweeper to retarget on another dragon. So distracting an air sweeper is not going to be a simple task. It is definitely going to take some practice to figure out exactly the best methods to do that. So I see a lot of discussion, some theory crafting about the air sweeper, both on offense, trying to either distract it or attack it from behind or from the sides, and on defense, where you want to position it in your base, which structures you want it to protect. It is certainly going to be a challenge. So in this replay, the attacker ends up getting 2 stars, the Town Hall, and 50%, but that's really primarily due to the fact that the expos were set to ground rather than air and ground. But I do think this replay was useful because it shows us that limited radius of an individual attack from an air sweeper, despite the fact that it can be set to cover a larger portion of the battlefield. So let's go back and take a look at the air sweeper in a base. It is a 2x2 structure, so it's the same size as an Inferno Tower or a Tesla, so at least we won't have to completely redesign bases from scratch. We can just use it probably replacing a big bomb or where a Tesla is currently, move things around a little bit. So I think that bases will probably stay more or less the same, but the strategies in which we can employ that air sweeper, they're going to be vast. And so let's go ahead and take a look at another attack, and this time we've got some ground and air units, including a healer. And now this attacker begins by dropping the balloons at the bottom of your screen. And right away we can see the balloons are taking a longer time to recover because obviously they're slower than the minions. And there we see the minions are moving in front of the balloons in some cases. Watch on the right hand side. Here come the minions getting in there more quickly. But again, the air sweeper will readjust on a different target if it pushes the first target out of its range. And as these units are moving after that air defense to the lower right, they eventually move out of range of the air sweeper. Right there it misses the balloons, but the balloons don't manage to take the air defense out. But it is a good demonstration of how we will have to take into account the speed of each air attacking unit. Here comes the Lava Hound getting pushed back as it goes after that air defense. Really only gets hit once before it moves past the radius. So in that case, the air sweeper not having much of an effect. Now it's pushing back the lava pups, pushing back the minions. And you'll notice as those minions get blasted back, the Expo can go to work on them, as well as the air defense and the archer tower on the right. And those minions can't get through any of those structures before they are wiped out. Now we've got a dragon moving in. Same problem with the dragon, getting pushed back and being so slow. He is going to get blasted by that thing 2 or 3 times before he finally gets into a structure. And there he's just going to get annihilated by all of those defenses. So I do anticipate a big change in Town Hall 6 and 7, especially war attacks. And now here comes the healer, and she is desperately trying to do her job, keeping that P.E.K.K.A. up. But now we see the long range of the air sweeper really pushing her back, probably cutting the number of effective heals in half that she is able to deliver to the P.E.K.K.A. before the P.E.K.K.A. does finally go down. The healer getting blasted back again and again. And now that the P.E.K.K.A. is gone, the healer left to be taken out by the air defense. So let's go ahead and take a look at one more attack. Here we've got balloons and minions moving in from the bottom of the base so we can see how they work against the air sweeper. So the minions come in first, and I think it is going to be critical to observe where that nozzle is angled before you start your attack. Notice the balloons off to the right. They are just out of range of the air sweeper, not being touched by that blast of air. They're able to move in a little more closely, take out some more defenses. Now the nozzle is turned to the right, push back those other units back to the left again, pushing the minions and balloons away from that wizard tower, but eventually they will overwhelm it, and now it is really going to be up to a rage spell. There's the rage spell to get those units in. Otherwise, those balloons especially would just be pushed back over and over and over again. The rage spell finally accelerating that entire pack of balloons in. They're finally able to get on top of the air sweeper, and there you can see they weren't pushed back while they were right on top of it. They took the air sweeper out, moved on, and although the attack was a fail, I think it's a great example of exactly how that air sweeper works. So there it is, you guys, the introduction of a brand new air defense structure, the air sweeper. It is going to be interesting to see how much it changes things. I want to hear your feedback. I have a feeling it's going to have more impact than we think. Just remember back to the lava hound, to the skeleton traps. When those were first released, people said, they're not going to change things that much. I have a feeling the air sweeper will also change the game significantly. You can always count on Clash of Clans attacks for the latest update news. Check out my other videos, like, comment, and subscribe for daily Clash of Clans content. Join me on my quest to 5,000 trophies, and I will see you again tomorrow with more full attacks.
Galadon, you want to know what I think about the air sweeper? Do you? Well, I say